Hello, world. Hello. Is anybody out there? Dear Brother Counsel, may I presume to respond to your video, please, sir? Here we go.
Question correctly, yes, if the vehicle is striking the center of gravity of a pedestrian as opposed to just, for instance, the limb, yes, the center of gravity of the body will be accelerated up to that speed.
Now, with respect to the defendant's vehicle, again, you never actually look at the defendant's vehicle, is that correct?
It wasn't necessary.
So he didn't look at the defendant's vehicle, but he did say that it wasn't necessary for him to look.
Okay, I already have a problem with this very short segment right here. First thing he says is that
The center of gravity of the body will be accelerated up to that speed.
Now,
okay, so he is already assuming how that vehicle, if that vehicle is going to hit a pedestrian, okay? I'm really trying to not be, I don't want to picture that. Okay, so he's saying that he's presuming the way that that vehicle is going to hit a person, or what is he saying here? Because he's doing a lot of presuming, and he has very little information to be making all of these presumptions. So, first of all, Brother Counsel, I beg of you to visit the RICO website. I want you to look at what their specialty is and how they do what they claim to be able to do. They are very, 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 very top experts, and these would be ideal people to have, to give all of the information to, and to actually give them the facts of the case and allow them to actually do reconstruction using the vehicle, the tech stream data, any other EDR information that they can pull from that vehicle, because they claim to be able to get things out of that tech stream that other companies cannot. That is their golden ticket. Okay? So, he's already it sounds to me like he's talking about, it's physics, right? So he's talking about how that vehicle hits him.
The center of gravity of the body will be accelerated up to that speed.
now, with respect.
Okay, so he's already presuming. So now he is making the presumption that that car is going to come in contact with a pedestrian. So he's making all kinds of decisions in his head about how and where and why and what, because this is not a normal vehicle pedestrian collision. So your second homework assignment, Brother Counsel, is to research accidents between an SUV and a pedestrian. But not just that, we need to go deeper. We need to do pedestrian SUV hits with going in reverse. 24 miles an hour, 75% of that accelerator pushed down, 64 feet, or 62 feet, 64 feet, I think. I can't remember. I'm losing my numbers. 60-something feet. Okay? In reverse. So I want you to look up how many pedestrian vehicle, specifically SUV hits, there are, and what kind of injuries vehicles may cause to the human body in that scenario. These folks don't have any of that information. And you know what? They should. And you know what? The Commonwealth reached out to them. Lally said so. They would not take the actual evidence. They are using cherry-picked evidence given to them by the defense through Josh Levy. Yes, Josh Levy is involved in this corruption. This is innocence fraud, Brother Counsel. Do you know what that is? Because this is innocence fraud 101 right here. It's the first time that they have tried to pull this crap in the United States, pre-trial and in real time during trial. This is the crap that usually happens after people get convicted and they get sent to prison, and then they think that they should get out of prison, like Gascon was trying to do with the Menendez brothers, like Amanda Knox did, and on it goes. So, you need to be able to recognize innocence fraud when it's happening. And all American people need to recognize innocence fraud when it's happening. So how is this expert making any decisions about physics when he doesn't have where the body hit, if a body hit, what part of the body hit, what position the body was in, how fast that vehicle was going, how tall this person was, the weight of the person? There are so many factors in this actual incident. Let me correct that. This murder, that they refuse to actually get the facts that are in evidence in the court of law. It is corruption, directly from Karen Reed and her attorneys to Josh Levy, who got this federal investigation going with no probable cause, indicted or had people come and speak at the grand jury where Josh Levy himself questioned these witnesses in a grand jury with what? Turtle Boy Live News. Brother Counsel, you're going to get the facts right here. Karen Reed and her defense team fed Aiden Carney, Turtle Boy, information. Fed them information. Turtle Boy did not do one iota of actual investigation. He was fed every piece of information that he reported on directly from Karen Reed and her defense team. And then they would walk into court and use this information as if it was facts in an actual journalistic way, as if, and pretending like they don't know Aiden. They had no relationship with Aiden. They have no idea who this man is. How about you go and check the video when Yannetti slaps Turtle Boy's ass on the way into court. It's the slap on the ass heard around the world, Brother Counsel. But they don't know him, okay? So they are feeding Turtle Boy facts from Karen Reed's case. They are cherry-picking pieces of evidence, and they are twisting it like defense attorneys do. And they're putting out this story into the ether for 2 years before this goes to trial. And they get Turtle Boy on it, and then Turtle Boy has all these little minions, all these little people on YouTube. Okay, LTL, The Young Jerks, Broken Baker, 12th Juror, Attorney Melanie Little, God, there's so many. The Glarer, Going Through the Motions. All these people, they're all part of this diatribe of nonsense, cult behavior, mob thinking. Okay, they get all of these different personalities from all these different creators, all funneled information straight from Karen Reed and her defense to Turtle Boy, to all these other creators. That way, there's distance between them. They don't have to say that they're in cahoots with Turtle Boy, that they like Turtle Boy, that they accept Turtle Boy and his actions. They do this so that they can get all different people. Attorney Melanie Little gets her people. She attracts a certain crowd. The Glare attracts a certain crowd. Sean McDonough attracts a certain crowd. Mike Crawford attracts a certain crowd. Okay, Bryan from LTL attracts a certain crowd. They all get their little minions, and then they all fundraise. This is RICO shit, actually, Brother Counsel. You ready for some real shit, real talk right now? It's RICO. Okay, this is fraud. And every single time that they have fundraisers and that people pay them money to join membership, super chats, all that crap. They're using Officer John O'Keefe's name to raise money for his murderer. It is disgusting, it is unacceptable, and it is beyond illegal. And everybody from that side is involved in this shit. You want some real facts? You're gonna get them. So then they feed Turtle Boy all this information. Turtle Boy reports it. They go into court and go in front of the judge and report this information as if they're getting this information from a credible news source, and that they have they don't know who Aiden Carney is. They don't have a personal relationship with him. They don't figure that out until Turtle Boy goes to jail and all that crap goes down, and they finally figured out that Karen Reed and Turtle Boy have been communicating the whole time. And then Turtle Boy says, "I didn't lie. Of course, I'm a journalist. I talked to Karen Reed." He was lying to everybody. And then everybody just accepted it as if, oh, it's okay because he's a journalist and that's his source. That is not okay. That is not okay. Nor is it legal. And all the attorneys that walked in that court and did that crap, including Josh Levy, who then opened a federal investigation, how or why, on what probable cause, I would love for Michael Proctor and his family to demand that, because I think that he could sue the crap out of them for civil rights violations, because they had absolutely no right to intrude on his personal phone. What's the probable cause? There was no probable cause. This was a political favor, and I don't know why, but I'm not going to shut up about it until we figure it out, because this stuff needs to be exposed. This is our American justice system that you took an oath to protect. You should be outraged by this. Using our justice system to pull the biggest real-time fraud. It has ruined lives. People have lost their jobs. People have lost relationships. People have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. They've traveled around the world to come support somebody that they don't know, that is guilty. Guilty. And she is so diabolical that she continues to use them all. She could have done 18 months and been in and out a long time ago, moving on with her life. But her personality is one that won't do that. And now she has brought in so many people into this crap.
Now let's take a look at what the vehicle, the police reports, and their testing that they've done. So they relied on all that in order to come to their conclusion. Now let's take a look at what they didn't have. So let's see what Melanie brings out in cross-examination. The first guy, let's move it up to, I'm sorry, I forgot his name right now.
Question correctly, yes, if the vehicle is striking the center of gravity of a pedestrian as opposed to just, for instance, a limb, yes, the center of gravity of the body will be accelerated up to that speed.
Now, with respect to the defendant.
Okay, so how many assumptions is he making? I thought that they built a potato launcher to throw a glass at the taillight. That's what they did. So now in this first line of questioning, he is actually assuming that there was a pedestrian strike, or he's thinking out that theory, right? And he's basically saying it couldn't have happened. This is disgusting what these men did. They know what they did. They know damn well what they did, because they would never, ever testify in a court of law without having all of the facts. They push the facts away. They don't want them. They don't need them. They don't care. But here he's talking about, well, we're going to talk about physics and we're going to talk about how this vehicle could have hit this body and if it hit there and if it hit here and how fast was this vehicle going? Don't you think that might be important information? Because I could tell you how fast it was going. It was going 25 miles an hour, 24 miles an hour in reverse. Karen Reed had 75% of that accelerator pushed down. She went 62 feet in reverse. She has a Lexus SUV. She has bells and whistles going off in that vehicle. She has anti-lock brakes going off. She does not hit the brake once. All of that information is in the text stream data. Lally tried to give that information to him. He didn't want it. He says it wouldn't change his opinion. Really? Because where I come from, experts, scientists want every single piece of information in order to create theories and hypotheses about whatever experiment they're trying here. They have lots of different variables, and every single piece of information is important. I don't know a single scientist that's going to say, no, none of that is important for my experiment. What is your experiment, Dr. Wolf? What exactly was it that you were tasked to do? Because it certainly wasn't crash reconstructionist. This first line of questioning confuses me because after this, you bring no mention of an actual pedestrian hit because you've already ruled that out. And I want to know how you've ruled that out. With what information are you ruling that out? Because you know what we have here? We have a woman and a man who drove over to a house. The man got out of the vehicle. The woman drove off. What happened in between those last two is what's in question, but I can tell you what happened. You want to know how? Because that vehicle has text stream data. I just told you what happened. She drove forward for a little bit and then threw her vehicle in reverse, pushed that pedal down 75%. Her bells and whistles are going off because the man is in her way. She goes 62 feet in reverse at 24 miles per hour with 75% of that pedal pushed down. She did not hit the brakes once. The steering wheel and the anti-lock brakes, the combination of those two things, told Trooper Paul that that was the moment of that vehicle hitting John O'Keefe. But you don't want any of that information? For why? What exactly are you trying to do, Dr. Wolf?
Vehicle, and you never actually look at the defendant's vehicle, is that correct?
It wasn't necessary.
So he didn't look at the defendant's vehicle, but he did say that it wasn't necessary for him.
Okay, why are you accepting that, Brother Counsel? Why are you accepting that this scientist who was hired by the feds to come in and help figure out this big mystery, and this is what they do. They do accident reconstruction. They pull text stream data. This is what they do, Brother Counsel. But you are just accepting his absolute stonewalling bullshit. Sorry, I'm shaking. I'm so upset. You are just accepting that as fact. Why? Why is it not necessary for him to look at the vehicle? Why is it not necessary for him to actually go sit in that vehicle, go to the crime scene, have every single piece of information that he possibly can? I can tell you why. Because Josh Levy gave him a nod. He cherry-picked evidence from the defense with no information from the Commonwealth. And they knew what they were tasked to do. This is corruption, Brother Ali. Brother Ali. Brother Counsel. Brother Ali is a good musician, y'all.
Okay.
Check him
And
out.
did you look at the actual taillight housing from the defense vehicle?
I have sufficient photographs of the taillight.
So he did.
Look at his smug smirk, too. This man is such a smug, cocky SOB. It's disgusting.
look at the physical taillight, but then he's responded, well, I had enough photographs. I don't need to actually look at the physical taillight. So he's saying that even though I didn't see that, I didn't have that evidence to look at, I didn't need to because I had the pictures and that was sufficient for my analysis.
Did you
What,
look at the-
again, what is his analysis, brother counsel? What is his analysis? What is he trying to do? It is very important for you to take a step back and ask yourself, what were these men tasked with? Go to their website, look at what they do, and then ask yourself, what in the actual hell were they tasked to do? And why wouldn't they want all of the information that the Commonwealth has and all of the information that the defense has? They cherry-picked evidence.
The actual physical broken pieces of the taillights from the defense vehicle?
Again, I had sufficient photographs that documented the fragments and pieced them together.
Okay, so then you're right. He didn't have those pieces of evidence. He didn't have certainly the forensic DNA reports, which also Larry brought out. He didn't have the state's reconstruction report. We all remember Trooper Paul talking about his reconstruction efforts. So he didn't have Trooper Paul's report about what he did. And this we just heard that he didn't actually see the physical vehicle and the physical pieces of broken plastic from that vehicle, from the tail. So, but he did kind of explain why it wasn't really necessary. Well, anyway, just for completeness.
Really? Did he explain why it wasn't necessary, brother counsel? Because I didn't hear an explanation. Take that back and tell me. Because I don't hear an explanation other than, it wouldn't have mattered. I didn't need it. The photographs were sufficient.
So let's move up to Larry's questions on the next expert, about what he was not provided. This is going to be a little up here. Here we go.
Physical car, is that correct?
I did not. That's correct.
So you just asked me, you never looked at the physical car. And he said, yep, I never looked at the physical car.
Are you aware that the physical car being the defense car is still in law enforcement custody and available for inspection if you would want it to? Are you aware of that?
I think I'm aware of that, yes.
Again, why are you just accepting this? You need, brother counsel, to look at what these men do. And why they didn't do it here. It is very important. In fact, it is the crux of the entire fraud.
You never made that request, is that correct?
That was not necessary in this case to inspect the vehicle.
So again,
It was not necessary. No, I don't need any actual fucking facts to draw any kind of conclusions because I already know what my result is supposed to be. I come in here and stonewall and pretend like none of this crap matters. All of this matters. Every bit of it. Any scientist worth a salt knows that every single piece of evidence that you can get your hands on, facts, driven, theory, hypotheses. Really? What are they tasked to do, brother counsel? I keep calling you Brother Ali. Check out Brother Ali. Good musician. One of my faves.
and he did bring out that, you didn't actually inspect the physical vehicle, and his response was, yeah, I know it wasn't necessary in this case to actually look at the vehicle. I had enough, again, the same thing as a previous expert, I had enough pictures already, I didn't need to actually look at the physical vehicle. So that was his response to that. And now, people have also been saying, well, what about, any other evidence they didn't look at, or future evidence, maybe that would have changed his opinion. So let's take a look at what he says with respect to that. So a little bit further.
The ground could cause it or not. The roadway could cause it, the curb could cause it, a bat could cause it. There's numerous different possibilities, and we don't really have enough evidence in this case to determine what one specific event actually caused that injury.
You didn't have enough evidence
Okay, listen to what Lally's going to say here.
based on what you were provided. It's Netflix.
The roadway could cause it, the curb could cause it, a bat could cause it. There's numerous different possibilities, and we don't really have enough evidence in this case to determine what one specific event actually caused that injury.
You didn't have enough evidence based on what you were provided. It's Netflix.
I didn't have enough evidence based on what I was provided, and even looking at the additional evidence that I became aware of after the fact, there's still no evidence. I mean, you can't deny the science and the physics.
This is their tagline. You can't deny the science and the physics. All those FKR creators that I've named and many more, every single one of them that are pushing this, they are making thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars off of this fraud. And that is their tagline. You can't deny the physics and the science. What physics and science are you using? You're not using any of the information about how fast that vehicle was going, what direction that vehicle was going, what kind of bells and whistles might be going on. Are there anti-lock brakes? Yes, there are. She didn't hit the brakes, dude. She did not hit the brakes. So let me just throw this in there while I'm at that, brother counsel. That is second-degree murder. She was driving forward and then threw her car in reverse, 24 miles per hour, 62 feet in reverse, 75% of that accelerator was pushed down, and she didn't hit the brakes once. The third prong of second-degree murder. Taking an action knowingly that could cause serious bodily injury and or death. Do you think that if we were driving and I threw my car in reverse at 24 miles an hour at 62 feet that I would reasonably conclude that that could cause great bodily injury and or death? Yes, I think that's a fair assumption. That is second degree. And then she went to his house like a bandit in the night and started planning how she was going to keep her butt out of trouble. You can't convince me that she didn't know. You can't be in a vehicle. That scenario does not happen by accident. I have never in my life been driving, dropped somebody off, started leaving, going forward, all of a sudden threw my vehicle in reverse, 24 miles per hour, 62 feet, 75% of that accelerator pushed. I don't even hit the brakes. The only way that I stop is because my anti-lock brakes kick in. I have never done that by accident. Have you? That is intentional. And then she went to his house, calling him, leaving him horrendous messages. She's a psychopath. I will say it. I am not a therapist, but these are the actions of a psychopath. Then she leaves him there. Now, I'm not saying that she knew he was going to pass away, but she sure as shit did not take any actions to make sure that he was okay. She didn't help him. She didn't check on him. She didn't call anybody in that house. She didn't drive back over there. She didn't do anything except call him and leave nasty messages and try calling her daddy, this 43-year-old woman in the middle of the night, calling her daddy. Why? Why, brother counsel? Why do you think that she was calling her daddy? Because she got in a fight with her boyfriend? I don't think women do that at 43 years old. I just don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just don't think that that's normal. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know, okay? This whole time that she's there and deleting video off the cams and crap that nobody wants to accept. There's no actual proof that she did it. Okay, well, who did it then? Santa Claus? Just happened to delete all of the video that could be inculpatory for Karen Reed? Really? Yeah, Santa Claus broke in and did it, because the only person that benefits from that is Karen Reed. Calls his friends, tells him, John's dead, and hangs up. Calls again and says, I think he got hit by a snowplow. I, again, have never in my life dropped somebody off at a party or a house gathering, and maybe we had a little fight, so I went home and went to bed. I did not wake up in the middle of the night and start thinking that the person that I dropped off is dead. Nor have I thought that they got hit by a snowplow. None of this is actual thinking that any rational person would ever do. She knew, brother counsel. Explain the 5 o'clock phone call to Carrie Roberts, who had no affiliation to anybody except the O'Keefe family. She calls her at 5 o'clock in the morning and tells her that John is dead and hangs up. Calls back and says he got hit by a snowplow. Carrie Roberts and Jen McCabe became Karen Reed's next victims to go and find John. Funny how she was the only one that could see him in the pitch black blizzard knew exactly where he was. The other two women were in the front seat. She was in the back seat. The other two women were very, very close to John O'Keefe. Eyes peeled, looking everywhere. They're like, this lady has lost her mind. She gets out of the vehicle and starts running towards John. They still can't tell it's John. They can't tell it's a person. They think she's lost her ever-loving mind. They don't realize that it is John O'Keefe laying there until she starts brushing the snow off of his face, brother counsel. And these two women are looking at their friend in the snow, passing away. And the furthest thing from their minds at that point was thinking that Karen Reed had a hand in this. Nobody thought that right away. And you know what else is curious, brother counsel? Why didn't Karen Reed immediately turn and look at Jen? She knew Jen was in that house. Why didn't she say, Jen, what in the hell did you do to my man last night? What happened here last night? No, she's not demanding answers from people that were at the place that she dropped her boyfriend off. Instead, she's saying, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? I can't raise these kids. Who's going to raise these kids? Is he dead? Did I hit him? Not normal, brother counsel. Y'all need to put your thinking hats on and see reality. I'm tired of this fraud. I'm tired of all of these people in power thinking that they have the power to do whatever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want, and have no consequences to their actions. Alan Jackson stood on those courthouse steps and said there are consequences to your actions. You know what, Alan Jackson? Yours are coming, because you are just as culpable. This is criminal activity.
So what would have happened if he was struck by the vehicle? So anything past that, you have to somehow overcome that hurdle, which is very difficult to do.
So there you go. He's saying that he
I have enough evidence based on what I was provided, and even looking at the additional evidence that I became aware of after the fact, there's still no evidence. I mean, you can't deny the science and the physics as to what would have happened if he was struck by the vehicle. So anything past that.
Okay, again, brother counsel, I want you to go to your computer. I want you to type in pedestrian SUV hits, accidents, with that SUV going in reverse. Okay, see how many examples you can find and see if they're all the same. See if there's anything that you can say this is absolutely explains exactly what would happen to somebody in that situation, or this absolutely could not happen in this situation. Because you know what? I already know. Common sense tells me that pedestrian vehicle hits will look different in every situation because there are so many different variables. The size of the vehicle, how much that vehicle weighs, the height of the vehicle, where the taillights and the spoiler and the bumper and all these different things. Where does the vehicle make contact with the person? I would venture to guess that 90 to 97% of pedestrian vehicle hits are forward. Forward. Okay? So very few are gonna be in reverse. That's just a guesstimate. Please look it up. Do your own research on that. I honestly haven't even looked it up because common sense tells me that that does not happen very often. But if we look at pedestrian vehicle accidents, all of them, I want you to see what kind of damage that does to the human body. Do you think that the speed of the car might be important? Do you think the direction of the vehicle might be important? Do you think the size of the vehicle might be important? Do you think the size of the person might be important? Do you think where exactly the body and vehicle make contact? Because most of the time that is coming straight on and you're going to hit that hood up the windshield over the car. Again, do your own research. I actually don't know that as a fact. Again, I'm using common sense. This is not that case. And you cannot sit here and say that his body did not hit that vehicle and that vehicle did not hit that body, especially given the fact that these assholes refused to take the actual facts in evidence from the Commonwealth. Once again, he's denying that he needs any of this information to draw what conclusion? To what end is this gentleman trying to get us to? To what end?
There's still no evidence. I mean, you can't deny the science and the physics.
You can't deny the science and the physics. What exactly science and physics are you using? What do you have? What kind of actual scientific experiments did y'all do except build a potato launcher? And you get a taillight and freeze it and then put it in a vise and use your potato launcher to see how fast that glass would have to go to break the taillight. So now we're jumping to that different theory, right? So now we're done with the actual human body making contact with the vehicle and we're jumping straight to the glass. It couldn't have been simultaneously. Maybe you should go look at the damage to the vehicle. Maybe you should have got actual autopsy photos that haven't been altered by Turtle Boy. Because that chalk that they brought in, that attorney Little thought that she was going to show the gallery in a pretrial hearing, and Judge Bev said, if you show that to anybody except me right now, I am not even going to listen to you. I will not even hear this argument. She was not going to have it. Because they should not have done that. That was disrespectful. Besides the fact that, once again, it's criminal. They altered that photo. Unless you were in that room, you have not seen actual autopsy photos. Because anything that's out there has been altered to make cuts look deeper and worse than they are. Those are not dog bites. I have German Shepherds. I have raised dogs my entire life. Those marks came directly from the light. They match up perfectly with the taillight fragments that are broken. I have a short on my channel here. It's Boundless Millennials. I just recorded it and stuck it on my page because it's so important. It lines up perfectly. These men did not take any scientific evidence. They did not have anything. I can't figure out what the hell they're trying to do. What do you think, Brother Counsel? What do you think that they were tasked with? Because I can't figure it out. I mean, I know what they were tasked with, but I'm trying to figure out what y'all think that these guys were tasked with, that everybody was so enamored with them. They didn't do anything. They wouldn't do anything. You want to know why? Because Karen Reed and her defense team got together with Josh Levy, and some kind of political favor was happening to open a federal investigation where Josh Levy would then have a grand jury and use his leaked information, Alan Jackson and Karen Reed, Netti and Little leaking all of the information straight from the defense, straight to Turtle Boy Aiden Carney, and pretending like, oh, we're just getting all of this information from, credible sources in the news. Turtle Boy is not news. Turtle Boy is National Enquirer. And they pretend like they don't know Turtle Boy. So then when Josh Levy goes to question these witnesses at this grand jury that he decided that he needed to have for this federal investigation that's a total sham of shit, what probable cause, Josh Levy, did you have? Michael Proctor, you need to file a lawsuit against all of these bad actors. You should not be in the position that they put you in. You are a good police officer with a clean record, and these animals destroyed your reputation, your career, likely your relationships, because this psychopathic murderer did not want to go to jail. They offered her 18 months when they just charged her with vehicular manslaughter. You want to know when they upped their charge, Brother Counsel? When they got the text stream data from her vehicle. Because you cannot tell me, and none of these super well-educated, well-spoken, highly regarded experts can tell me that throwing your car in reverse from drive, going 24 miles per hour, 64 feet, 75% of that accelerator, bells and whistles going off, anti-lock brakes are the only thing that brought her car to any kind of conclusion, because she didn't even hit the brakes. That's second-degree murder. She left him there to die in the cold. And this crap about science and physics. This is what all of these little FKR cultists say. Science and physics. I would like you to tell me what science and physics were actually used here. Because I'm not seeing it. Are you?
As to what would have happened if he was struck by the vehicle. So anything past that, you have to somehow overcome that hurdle, which is very difficult to do.
So there you go. He's saying that all the evidence that he did have, though he didn't have some of the evidence, but even when he became aware of the evidence after, that still did not change his opinion. There's still just simply not enough evidence to come to the conclusion that John O'Keefe's car that Karen Reed's car hit John O'Keefe. Now again, they don't have to prove.
You want to know what, Brother Counsel? These are not experts that were hired by the defense, right? They made that very clear. All of us know that these were hired by the feds. We all know that they're supposed to be non-biased, but all of us that have done our research on this case know exactly what this shit is. Josh Levy pulled a political favor. God knows why. We don't know that yet, but we're still digging. Got the feds involved with no probable cause. And did the sham that I just previously explained. And now you're telling me that it's okay for you to just say that, well, they just said they didn't need it. They didn't need any of that. They didn't need the text stream data. They didn't need to know anything about the size of the car, the height of John O'Keefe, what kind of position he could have been in. They don't need to go and look at the vehicle, test drive the vehicle, bring it to the scene. None of that's important. For what? What exactly do you think that they're trying to do here? They are not hired by the defense. If they were hired by the defense, I wouldn't be so pissed, because I know that experts hired by the defense look like that crazy dog lady that flew out from California that says that those are dog bites, which is the most asinine thing. I cannot believe that any logical person can actually think that those bites, those scratches, came from a dog. Have you seen German Shepherd teeth? Have you seen the canines on those canines? Because I'm very familiar with them. And I sure as shit can promise you that those are not dog bites. And if you don't believe me, check out my other video where I burn the ass off of American kennel expert that went on the fraud attorney Melanie Little's channel and put out this crap. And it pisses me off because all of these people that are involved that are experts, people hold them to a higher standard and think of them in high esteem and give them the benefit of the doubt. They're experts in their field. They know what they're doing. So if we just want to be sheep and not think it through for ourselves, we can just accept that as it is. I can't believe that you're just accepting all of this as it is. I really, it blows my mind that intelligent people can't stop and think this through. What were they trying to do? They weren't hired by the defense. They're experts. Okay? So what are they trying to do? If they were brought in by the feds, don't you think that they should have been trying to figure out what exactly happened here? And because they're ARCA, and because they are so qualified and educated and have all these degrees, don't you think that they would be the perfect company to put this all together? Because I think they would be. But they wouldn't accept any evidence from the Commonwealth. They took their cherry-picked evidence that Karen Reed's attorneys and Josh Levy decided they were going to give them, and then just gave them a nod so that they knew, like, okay, we'll just go have fun and build a potato shooter. Smug, pompous assholes. Unacceptable.
If you're Karen Reed, you don't have to prove what did cause the injury. All you have to prove is that what the state, the Commonwealth, is suggesting. Their idea.
And again, these are not experts for the defense. But you know what? They actually are, because of what I've just explained. And if you don't think that any of this shit is fishy, then I think you need to stop and take a deep breath and maybe have a big drink of water and try to come at this from a different perspective. Because these are hired from, they're experts, so overqualified to do this reconstruction that they are specialty. That's, again, look at their website. I beg of you. See what these men are capable of. And then ask yourself why they didn't want all of this information that Adam Lally was trying to give them. Don't you think all of that information would have been important for these very people? Because this evidence is actually airtight. And Karen Reed, in my very humble but strong opinion, was already proven guilty in a court of law for all 3 top charges. There is no question in my mind. I am so sick and tired of hearing people say that she was overcharged. Do you really think that throwing your car in reverse going 24 miles per hour for 62 feet with 75% of your accelerator pushed down and you don't even touch the brakes when all your bells and whistles are going off? Do you think that's an accident? Do you think that she didn't know that that could cause great bodily injury or death? I don't think that there's any fucking question about that. These men from ARCA could have and should have, if they were honest, dignified, ethical men, taken all of the facts that they had at the time and then done exactly what their little report says. That's why Lally asked them both. So I'm reading here that this is supposed to, if you get more information to, you know, feed into your theories and your hypotheses, that you would take that information and you would rework some of this. Yeah. But none of that matters. Do you know any scientist, any reconstructionist, any person that works in any kind of scientific field that would say, yeah, you know, with every new piece of evidence, you know, I can draw new theories and hypotheses and come to different conclusions, and every single piece, detectives, every single piece of evidence I can gather is going to help me draw a clearer, crisper, better picture of what actually happened here. These very, very qualified experts that espouse, it's physics and science. You can't argue with physics and science, but they're not doing any physics and science. They're not using any physics or science. They just gave them that tagline to go run into the ethers to spread more vitriol and hatred and negative energy because they haven't destroyed the community or the country enough. They haven't done that enough. They haven't destroyed enough families. They haven't ruined enough people's careers yet. They haven't had enough havoc in the Commonwealth and beyond. We've got Australian women that think that they know better than the O'Keefes know about their beloved family member. They don't know Karen Reed. They don't know the O'Keefes. But they sit and make these videos every day talking about how they know better. And they think, and they're going to call the O'Keefe family all these names. They're going to accuse John's friends who loved him of actually being the people that killed him. I mean, I even if you can't accept, and some of you more intelligent people have said, well, I don't really buy into the whole conspiracy theory, but okay, well, good for you, because holy balls, you've got well-educated moms and dads that were out at the bar and went back to have some beers at their friend's house before they go home. And this crazy woman gets hundreds of thousands of people to believe that Jen McCabe is some sort of villain who orchestrated some kind of crazy BS about getting John O'Keefe over there so these men and a teenager can beat him up? For what? For why? There was no argument about him between Brian Higgins. He told Karen Reed that their relationship was over. He told her that it had ran its course. He asked her to leave his house. John's children, aka niece and nephew, but children that he raised after his adult sister and her husband passed away. He moved, he took a desk job, and he raised those kids. His life got taken because of a person that has like borderline rage personality traits where she cannot control her rage and her vitriol. This is domestic violence murder. This should be the conversation in America. It should not have been about anything other than John's life, domestic violence, and the fact that men can be in domestic violence situations and not even know it. John had no idea. He knew he didn't like it. He knew he didn't want this woman around his children that he loved because she clearly did not have the same moral compass as he did. And he was not digging it. I don't know any of these people, so this is purely my opinion, but trust me when I tell you, I know people. So O'Keefe family, if I get you wrong, please feel free to reach out, but this is my opinion. This man is a blue-collar, hard-working, nose to the grindstone, work hard, play hard man with a heart of gold who would have given the shirt off his back to anybody, anywhere, anytime. This woman comes in and buys them shit, spoils them with things. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that she's making material things valuable. She's feeding her narcissistic supply. It's not about anybody but Karen Reed. She doesn't do anything altruistically. Every single thing that she has done, every single move that she has made, every single puppet string that she has pulled was all about and for Karen Reed. Be damned if you lost your job. She is loving it. Look at her face when Michael Proctor has to read embarrassing texts. She is enjoying it. That is psychopathic behavior. I am so disappointed that so many Americans cannot see that. Intelligent Americans. Y'all want to make excuses for her. Why? Because she's a woman? Women kill. Women are abusive. Women can do some really, really, really awful shit. Especially when they have no moral compass. So there was no reason for Bryan Elbert to be pissed at John, and I have no idea what Colin Elbert, she's bringing this back now. Didn't she go on the Howie Carr show and say that that rumor about Colin wasn't true? She did that right after the first trial. She went out to eat with these people, and they said, oh yeah, she told us that wasn't true. Now she did it again in Vanity Fair. She's bringing back the 227. This is bullshit. All of this was disproven in court. So anybody that chooses to believe this is choosing to believe this. And it's really sad. And it's very disappointing. And all of these experts and people that we hold in high regard, such as ex-police officers like the Las Vegas police that have gotten on this, such as ex-DEA agents like Sean, such as attorneys like Melanie Little, all of these assholes are knowingly
just simply not enough evidence
spreading
to come to the conclusion that John O'Keefe's car that Karen Reed's car hit John O'Keefe. Now again, they don't have
lies. And they are lining their pockets with money from YouTube, raising donations that they all get a cut from, asking people to donate, and then, oh, if we get $100, I'll give Karen Reed's defense fund 20%, 30%, 40%. They do this shit so that people pay them, and they get a cut of the money. This is RICO charges, y'all. You can't get rid of this monster unless you cut all the heads off this dragon. And there are a lot of heads. And they all need to be cut. This is RICO. So I really hope that Hank Brennan is putting his brain to work to bring this whole enterprise down, because it is an enterprise. These people are using their fellow brothers and sisters in America and beyond. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. They don't give it. None of these creators give a shit about any of you that listen to them and give them all of this money and donate to Karen's defense team in John O'Keefe's name. That is the sickest shit I have ever heard in my life. The fact that these people sat on those stairs for months and months and months and months going to pretrial hearings, booing the O'Keefe family, calling these family members and friends murderers and lots of awful names, causing them havoc in their careers, scaring them like Proctor's sister with Yannetti, going to Proctor's sister's school. That is disgusting behavior. To scare her, to intimidate her. She's a teacher. That, literally, these people need to be in prison. Not just disbarred. They need to go to prison. And all these YouTubers need to go with them too, because they're all in on it. They all know Karen Reed is guilty. They can't not know it. Anybody that has been in this deep with this shit cannot not know it. Unless you literally do not have two brain cells to rub together. It's not difficult to unravel this ball of yarn. It's quite easy. And every single one of these heads of this dragon need to get thrown in the clinker. And there should be a lot of lawsuits coming. Because you know what, Michael Proctor? I bet that Alan Jackson and David Yannetti have some money. I kind of think maybe they owe you for putting you through all the shit they've put you through. Probably Josh Levy has a little money too, Proctor. If I were you, I would demand to see that probable cause affidavit. Because I don't think there is one. What the fuck kind of information did Josh Levy use to open a federal investigation? Josh Levy is the state's attorney. You're telling me that the top dog in that state, in that area, that he can't see what this is? He can't see through this? Like, what, did Karen just pull the wool over his eyes? Really? Because I don't fucking believe that. I don't believe that for a second. Nope. He can't be that dumb. I don't know, Josh Levy. Are you that dumb? You know what else, though? ARCA, beyond all this, let's get back on ARCA, because I am going to give it to you straight, brother counsel. The information that ARCA should have had was all the information that Trooper Paul had, and everybody gave him such a hard time because he was nervous. Because Karen Reed's California attorney is a total dick to him. Just demeans him and dehumanizes him, because that's what makes Alan Jackson feel good about himself, bullying people. He's an adult and he loves bullying people. Just like Melanie Little, just like the Glare, just like Bryan, just like all of these nasty people. Aiden. It's disgusting. Trooper Paul had the facts. He was nervous because of how he was being treated. And quite frankly, I am pretty disappointed in the Commonwealth for not protecting their citizens. All of these people should be protected from this homegrown terrorism that is happening in their community. And it is terrorism. He is terrorizing all of those families. Every single day. Everybody is. All of these players involved in this are terrorizing all of these families and the rest of the community. Something needs to be done. The fact that these witnesses, they weren't given protection orders against Aiden, the fact that Aiden was able to be in court so that he can identify the jurists, none of those people are ever going to be safe with Aiden in there. There is no reason that that man should not be in jail right now, because he's violating every single time he goes and does the crap that he does. He has no business going near Chris Albert's place of employment. Why does he not have a protection order against Aiden? Why? What judge will not give these witnesses protection orders? That would prevent Aiden from being able to come near them. And it's not because they're scared Turtle Boy is going to beat them up. No, nobody is scared of Turtle Boy in any sort of physical way. They're scared that they're going to beat the ever-loving shit out of him, and then they're going to go to jail. That's why they need protection orders, because this man has terrorized them. Because he does exactly the crap that got Jill Daniels in trouble, who ended up having to go to court, and that judge didn't grant her a protection order either. What in the hell is going on? They need to be protected. That is the least that y'all could do for these people that have been through hell and back and are continuing to go through hell because of all of this chaos. The people in power need to protect their citizens. And they need to take out the people that do not play well in society. It's a game to these people. And they're making tens of millions of dollars. It's fraud, it's RICO, it's disbarment, it's unethical, it is disgusting, it is dirty, it is every nasty thing you can think about. But these people that are doing this are all out walking around, living their best lives, spending tens of thousands of millions of dollars getting their hair did and their nails did and getting a tan. While all these other people are living in hell. Can't go to work. Wondering if they have a job tomorrow. How they're going to pay their mortgage. They have children. Are their children safe? Can they go to college? Can they actually use their athletic scholarship? I mean, these people have caused irreparable harm in so many people's lives, and they are still not protected.
To prove, if you're carrying, you don't have to prove what did cause the injury. All you have to prove is that what the state, the Commonwealth, is suggesting, their idea of what happened here, there's just no evidence to support that. If there's no evidence to support that, and there's been no evidence offered in this case, and that's exactly what he just testified to, that all the evidence that he's seen even after he came to this conclusion. So that still does not explain what happened in this case, because again, the injuries are inconsistent. Now, let's just go on a limb here. Let's just try to play with the argument a little bit and just logically analyze the argument. Well, maybe there's other evidence. Maybe they just simply weren't given certain other pieces of evidence. Okay, so let's just talk about that, just to be fair to that side, and logically talk about whether that's a good argument. You know, maybe there's some evidence out there that they were not given. So number one, we do know that they did not actually inspect the actual vehicle. These two experts acknowledge they did not actually inspect the vehicle. Now, they both said very clearly it doesn't matter. It wasn't necessary. They had sufficient evidence.
The fact that you're literally explaining this again right now and saying you're just jumping over that, you're just accepting that, you're just like, what do you think these guys are doing here? If they didn't need the vehicle, they didn't need the tech stream data, they didn't need to know any of the physical elements of the vehicle or the person, the height, the weights, the situation, the place that they got in an accident, the scene of the crime. Why are you just accepting that as okay?
From the pictures, and it wasn't necessary. And let's think about what their job is. See, let's think about what their expertise is. Their expertise is to try to reconstruct this scenario and then it equal the damage to the car. So just think about...
Again, why did they not accept any of the evidence that the Commonwealth tried to give them? All of that is important for that very reason. They need the tech stream data. They need to know that there's John's DNA on the inside housing of the taillight. They need to know, what kind of alarm system that is going to go off if a pedestrian gets close to that vehicle. Does it have anti-lock brakes? Are there bells and whistles going off? They don't want any of this. They don't want to know how tall John O'Keefe is. They don't want to know. They don't want to actually go and get the vehicle and take it to the scene of the crime and actually think about how to reconstruct this actual murder.
Logically, what do they need as experts to reconstruct this scene, reconstruct this accident, and for it to equal the damage to the vehicle and the injuries to John O'Keefe? And let's think about what other pieces of evidence they would potentially need that can change this analysis. Well, obviously they need to see the damage to the car. Right? That's obviously the ABCs. They have to know what the damage to the car was. So that's number one. They have to know what damage. Now they have pictures of the damage. They know exactly what damage was caused to that car. Okay, so they know that. No.
Again, so this dog expert that Melanie Little had on her show, she's showing the picture, like the chalk that Aiden or whoever completely played with to make those scratches on his arm look deeper and more bloody. I don't know how to say that politically correctly. Okay, he altered the autopsy photo. Okay, and that was all that dog expert from the American Standard Kennel Training. That's what he used to make his expert opinion. That was it. That photograph that was altered, he just accepted that as fact and made and took it on a platform where he has a very, very, very big pull in the world. Like, he is a good dog trainer. He is an expert. He has a huge platform. And he's going to just throw around his expert opinion and not actually do it with integrity and get all of the information and just accept the one picture that attorney Melanie Little gives him? Really? Because, again, I'm not a dog trainer, but I've had dogs. I am a dog trainer. I just don't do it professionally. And I can tell you 100%, those are not dog bites. Watch my video. I explain it all. It's disgusting. And the other thing is, did they take x-rays of John's body? Because I'm not sure that they did. Nobody asked that question. So to say that there were no broken bones or fractures or anything, we don't know. His elbow could have been cracked. We don't know. I don't know. Nobody ever asked that. So to say that there were no injuries below the waist, well, first of all, his knee did have some scrapes on it, nothing horrible. But again, we don't know. We don't know what kind of internal damage was done that we can't see. But they bring a dog expert on to look at this picture and say that those are definitely dog bites in their expert opinion. And then we get this medical examiner that doesn't even, you know, he's, again, looking at pictures that have probably been altered to make his expert opinion. Like, no. You would never send pictures to a medical examiner of your loved one and ask them to basically do an autopsy with photographs. Can't be done. But y'all just accept these people because they're experts, right? It's ridiculous.
Number two, they have to know the injuries that were caused on John O'Keefe. So they've got pictures of the injuries, they've got his medical records, they've got everything that's necessary to diagnose his injuries as it relates to any sort of impact from that vehicle. So they have the injuries, they have the pictures of his injuries, they have the pictures of the car. Now they are given a task. Reconstruct this scenario in where it's possible that the damage to the vehicle is consistent with the injuries to John O'Keefe. So use all the science and math that you know, all the physics that you know, everything that you know possibly, all of your expertise to try to figure out how the damage to the vehicle that we were giving you all these pictures of, you know the damage to the vehicle. Now, of course, if there's additional pictures that are saying, oh, look at this, there's more damage to the vehicle that we didn't realize when we gave you those pictures. Oh yeah, certainly their analysis can change. But assuming that the pictures of the vehicle, of that shattered taillight, are accurate. And that's
okay, exactly. But they're sitting on that stand testifying to the fact that they didn't get any of these facts. Lally tried to give them all of that information that I've explained 15 times already, and they wouldn't take it. And then they sit up there on the stand and say that it would not have changed their analysis. It wouldn't have changed anything. Are you telling me that that is not like 65 million red flags for a scientist to say, oh, no, we don't need any of that information. It certainly wouldn't affect my analysis. There's still no evidence. Really? It's physics and science. These are their taglines. What is physics and science? What? Because you didn't conduct any actual accident reconstruction that I can tell. And these these experts would be the perfect people to then take all of the EDR info, black box type info from the Lexus, and they would probably be able to pull more off of that than Trooper Paul was able to get, because this is, again, their specialty. They specialize in Lexus Toyota Tech Stream, and that is their golden ticket on their website, where they claim that they can get way more information than if there's something there, they're going to find it. They didn't even want to try. They didn't even want to see the vehicle. They didn't want any of that. Why, Brother Counsel? They didn't want it. They didn't need it. Wouldn't change their opinion. It's disgusting. And then, on top of that, which hopefully they're going to do this next time around, they need to combine all of that information with all of the phone information. Karen's phone, John's phone, the health app, the GPS, all of this stuff. And they need to combine the phone data that they get with the timing of all of that vehicle tech stream data from Karen's vehicle. And we have it all. Like I said, this was already proven in a court of law. It was just done in a way that was very, very difficult. It was not streamlined. And I don't blame people for not being able to connect all those dots. It was a lot. And especially not being able to, look at a lot of things. Or weren't they not even allowed to take their notes or something? Like, the jury instructions are just crazy. You want these jurors to be able to come to a logical conclusion. Which, by the way, let me just say right here, reasonable doubt is not some fairy tale doubt. If the Commonwealth explains to you pretty close to what happened, again, nobody was there except Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. So all the experts in the world can't tell you 100,000% what happened, but they can get you dang close. And they did. Again, it just wasn't presented in a coherent, tangential way. But it will be next time. I have faith. Okay, but they get all that information, and they put all the timing of that information together, where John's phone stopped, the health data stopped, with the timing of the vehicle, and when all of these key cycles happened with when it was alarmed. If they're very lucky, they might even be able to get a picture out of the deal. I doubt it. It was dark and snowy, so it would probably not be very good. Okay, but why were they not willing to take all of the evidence from the vehicle, from Karen and John's phones, and all the other scientific evidence from the text stream and the health data and all this, and actually do an accident reconstruction? They were brought in by the feds. So they're not here to, throw shade and cause some doubt in the jurors. They're not defense experts. They were brought in by the feds. They are supposed to be non-biased. So why did they not do exactly what they do, what they are known for? Why did they not come in and get all of the evidence and actually do an accident reconstruction? Why? You have to ask yourself why. If you can come up with a reason other than corruption, please do let me know, because I would be very interested in any other explanation that you might be able to come up with, because I just can't. Lally tried to give them all of that information, and they denied it. And then they smugly sit up on the stand, both of them, with little smirks and smug grins on their face, and no, I don't need that. I don't need to see the car. I don't need to see the text stream data. I don't need to see the scene of the crime. I don't need to know anything about how tall or how much this man weighed. I don't need any of that. None of that would change my hypotheses. It would not change my analysis. What exactly are you analyzing then? You're going to take a taillight, freeze it, put it in a vice grip, build a potato shooter, and get a cocktail glass and start launching cocktail glasses at a taillight in a vice? What exactly are you trying to do? Because I'm fucking lost. I don't get it. Do you get it? Because I don't get it at all. This is their job. Crash reconstructionists need all the evidence. And of course, with each new piece of evidence, each new bit of information, new theories can form, change, evolve. That is common sense. These guys claim that none of the actual evidence matters and wouldn't change their opinions. It's said defensively on the stand. They defensively say, no. Defensively and smugly, definitely not. Nothing would change. But yet, we're supposed to think they're neutral and non-biased. But I still have no idea what in the hell they were hired to do, if not an accident reconstruction, because I don't think launching a cocktail glass at a vice grip frozen taillight is going to tell me much. I could get the speed at which these things were traveling, at the very least, from the text stream data. But I don't want that. That doesn't matter. Wouldn't change my opinion. Wouldn't play into my analysis at all. Doesn't matter. They're defensively up on that stand, smugly saying that they don't need that. Miss me with that shit. I would love to see the Commonwealth bring these guys back. I would love to see Josh Levy making these ARCA men take all of the evidence and not just the cherry-picked evidence that Karen Reed and her defense team want them to see. I would like to see them actually do what they're supposed to do with all of the evidence. But they won't, because they were hired to do one thing, and they did it. Physics and science. Physics and science, that's what they're all... Physics and science. Do you not believe in physics and science? Crash daddies, crash daddies, crash daddies. Well, you know what else these crash daddies said on the stand? The one good thing they did? They said, no, Karen Reed's taillight could not brake from going 1 mile an hour into John O'Keefe's vehicle. It could not have broken. There's 2 bumpers also in between, and plus she's going 1 mile an hour. But you take 2 vehicles and back them up to each other, their taillights are not going to touch. That's why we have bumpers. Again, common sense. How many people actually believe that that taillight could get broken with her traveling 1 mile per hour in reverse, giving his vehicle a little love tap, yet you see no taillight fragments in the snow? You know common sense has to tell you that there's 2 bumpers preventing taillights from hitting each other. And you also have to know that if you bumped a vehicle, even skin to skin we'll call it, you're not going to break that taillight going 1 mile an hour. But yet how many freaking people, mindless sheep, are like, oh yeah, she totally broke it. They disproved that in court. And after court, I think it was maybe Matt Johnson asked Karen, well, how did you break something that he asked him about the taillight, asked her about the taillight. She said, oh, but you know that by hitting John's car. They'd already disproven that in court. And she's still out there in her fantasy land after the crash daddy said that that couldn't have happened. But see, these people, they have selective memories and they just ignore. If they don't like the fact, they pretend nobody said it. They just pretend like nobody said it. I've watched them. When I first started getting into this trial, I thought Melanie Little was a respectable human being. It didn't take me long to figure out she was not. Day of opening statements, I figured it out. And then, as I was watching the trial unfold on court TV, things were starting to happen that I was like, okay, let's see what, is she going to realize that she's guilty when this comes out as a fact? Or is she going to show me that she is a grifter? And a grifter is defined as a person that knowingly spreads lies and uses these lies to build a brand. In the process, they're ruining other people's lives and causing irreparable harm. But they're making tens of thousands of millions of dollars and thinking that they're really cool shit because, they have 1 million followers on YouTube. It's disgusting. I'm so mad I'm shaking. I apologize for my shaking. I also apologize for the quality. I just had to get this out because you put this out. I have wanted to have a discussion with an intellect. I am not a lawyer, but I could probably go toe to toe to you pretty well with the facts of this case because I've studied this case since the first day of trial. My heart bleeds for the O'Keefes. I cried with and for that family every day during that trial. And I don't even know them. But I'm an empath. So I connect like that. Have you seen any emotion from Karen Reed? Have you seen any emotion other than her little flirty smiles and her grimaces as Michael Proctor is reading? You know what? She killed her boyfriend. She is a cunt. I think that's pretty much par for the course when you murder your boyfriend. Michael Proctor did nothing wrong, and he has been hung out to dry because he used his personal phone to talk to close personal people in his life, venting because he was fucking pissed because he was realizing after 17 hours, yeah, he had this figured out. It was a very fucking easy investigation. A to Z. He's laying in the place that she last saw him. Her taillight's broken. There's damage to the back of her vehicle. She's screaming, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? All these crazy, nasty messages on his phone. Calling Carrie and saying John is dead at 5 a.m. Calling Jen McCabe and telling her that John got hit by a snowplow at 5 a.m. Waking up John's niece. Horrifying her, screaming. Every single action that this woman has taken makes my skin crawl. And these families, especially the immediate families, the O'Keefes, the Proctors, the Alberts, the McCabes, the Roberts, have been vilified, called heinous things, lost jobs, homes, relationships, money, health, because of the stress of all of this. Because this woman didn't want to go to jail. So she created terrorism. And all these people jumped on board because they needed to find their own identity or fit in or find a cool club or I don't fucking know. But now they're brainwashed. And they're either knowingly grifting, meaning, I didn't finish my definition, knowingly spreading lies to make money, build a brand for your own selfish ends, and knowingly putting out false information. All of those creators involved in this are grifting. And anybody that has been taken for a fool needs to take a step back and start looking at this with a clear lens. Because this woman dropped off her boyfriend. He probably, it's just guessing, okay? Total theory and speculation. He probably told her to kick rocks. He didn't want her there when he got home. She got pissed. Maybe he did throw a glass. I don't know. She started going forward and then threw her car into reverse. I've said this a million times now, but one more time. 24 miles an hour for 62 feet, 75% of that accelerator pushed down, and never braked. Her vehicle slowed because of her anti-lock brakes, and she drove away, started calling him a pervert, telling him how much she hates him, telling him what a piece of crap he is after she just hit him with her vehicle and left him to die in the snow. Now, did she know he was going to die? I don't know. But did she stop to see if, maybe she caused some damage? If she did, she left him there. So I don't know which is worse. She stopped and saw what she did and then left? Or she just had this crazy bells and whistles and anti-lock brakes going off in her vehicle and I'm supposed to believe that she didn't know that she hit him? And then she just drove away, having no idea that she hit him, and then started calling him and telling him that he's a pervert, as if what? Did he walk in the house and immediately drop his drawers and start getting it on with somebody? Because she's so insecure? I mean, what? It's just ridiculous. It's immediately after she drops him off. It's within minutes that she starts calling him and accusing him of being a pervert and that he's cheating on her. It's ridiculous. Sorry, I'm shaking because I'm really, really upset. Clearly, you've probably noticed by now if you've hung out this long. And I'm on my phone, so I appreciate all of the information coming in. I'm going to have to read through my comments in a minute, but if I stop to do it now, I will lose my train of thought. But and then started calling her daddy, a 43-year-old woman. Why did she start calling her daddy? What is her excuse? Has she ever owned that yet? Was she able to hide that on her phone records? I don't know. No, because we do have that information. We have that information of when she started calling her dad. We have the times. 43-year-old woman, why is she calling her dad in the middle of the night? Her senior citizen parents, why? Because she got in a fight with her boyfriend? Do you really believe that? How many of you are, adults? Have you ever called your parents in the middle of the night to tell them that you got in a fight with your boyfriend? I haven't. I haven't called my parents past 10 o'clock since I was like 16 years old. Unless I had to get a ride somewhere. Why would these scientists not accept all of the evidence? All of the evidence that Lally tried to give them. As any other scientist, expert, reconstructionist would ask for in order to do their job as efficiently and accurately as possible. This is where, if your eyebrows aren't fully raised at this point, they should be. I don't understand how actual, extremely intelligent people don't see this. I mean, are you blissfully ignorant? Are you choosing to ignore it? Are you pretending like this is normal? Or do you just accept it as fact because they're an expert? So because they're an expert, I'm just going to believe everything that comes out of their mouth. And if they say physics and science, what am I supposed to do with that? I'm supposed to bow to their knees and say, okay, physics and science. You said the words, but they don't mean anything if you don't actually show me what you did with the physics and science. I'd like to see your work. Can you show me your work? I didn't think so. All of this information is relevant to do their job. And in order to be truly neutral and non-biased, they need everything, every new piece of data, every new piece of information, evidence, everything. Every piece of information should be being utilized in this career, this position as a neutral party. I mean, I'm sorry. I think you're pretty freaking overqualified to be building a potato shooter. I really don't think that, I mean, I have no idea what the point was. How fast that glass would have to go to break the taillight? Give me a break. It doesn't help the situation. You're not doing your job, and you're certainly not being a neutral party. If you think, Brother Counsel, or anybody that hears this, if you think that their opinions were truly neutral, I'd love to hear why and how you draw that conclusion. Please, do tell. You know, Microdots puts out all these videos, and these little FKR people run around and just think that they're the best thing in the world. He's got street lights lighting up that yard. There are no street lights out there. You need to get your facts straight. And you want to know why? You're not getting your facts straight on purpose. And people that think for themselves can see that. But people that want to be part of this cult, and it really is a cult because you're choosing to do things that you probably would not normally do. To take a step back and realize that this woman killed her boyfriend because she was pissed off and could not control her reflexes and could not handle the rejection, could not handle that he didn't want to be with her anymore. So she was going to show him. And she took those actions and then left him there to die by himself in the middle of the night in freezing blizzard weather while his friends were in the home and then started leaving one by one, not looking in the yard. There's no lights in the yard. You gotta go to the scene. Somebody needs to do that. Somebody that lives in the area needs to do that. At that time of year, at that time in the night, and do an actual reconstruction of what that looks like. Because, you know, y'all just act, y'all grifters just act like you have no life experience. And maybe some of you don't. Maybe that's why you're YouTube creators, because you don't have any life experience and you don't have any fun and don't have any actual friends that you actually go out with on the weekends. Like, I don't know. But I certainly don't go to my buddy's house after the bar and take notes. This guy, Jim Bob, got here at 2:04. He parked. I'm going to make a little parking diagram so that I make sure that I put all their vehicles in the right spots. Make sure I know the make and the model of the vehicle and where exactly they parked and what time they entered this home and what time they left and what time they had a beer and what time they had some whiskey and what time they looked out the window. Like, I don't know. Do you guys take notes like that when you're hanging out with your close friends? But yet the fact that these people don't remember every single piece of information on what turned out to be one of the worst nights of their lives, y'all want to cut them down. If I asked you, what did you do last weekend? Did you go to your buddy's house? Did you go to buddy's house after the bar last night? Did you have like 5 to 10 of your friends hanging out? Did you see where they were all parked? Could you tell me what they were driving? Did you know what time they got there and what time they left? Did you see what time their phone rang? Did anybody have a butt dial? Anybody? Yeah? 5 of you? Yeah, I thought so. They're not that frickin' rare, actually. And when you have a butt dial and the other person doesn't pick it up, it goes to voicemail. So you know what it shows on the phone bill? It shows that it was a call, because when your voicemail picks up, that's just like you picking up. So when that voicemail is saying, leave a message, and then if your buddy leaves you a message, that entire time, it's recording, and that's airtime that records on your cell phone bill. But no, I mean, we can't even think through any of these things. We just have to take and look at, oh my God, that's totally sus, man. Oh, they're guilty. They're murderers. They clearly, these very well-respected citizens, highly regarded community members, clearly they coaxed their friend to a mutual friend's house to beat the shit out of him. And then I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna take my hubby and go home, and I'm gonna Google search on, when we get there, I'm gonna Google search because now he's beat up, and we're gonna put him out in the snow. We're not gonna kill him, but we're gonna put him out in the snow so that, that makes sense. Because if I was gonna beat the shit out of somebody, I would definitely want to put him in my yard so that when that person was found, that's where they would be found. And then I would also, this buddy of mine who apparently I just had a beef with, I would really want them to suffer. So I'm not going to take them out of their misery. I'm going to put them out in the snow, and I'm going to let them die a slow, cold, lonely, painful death. This person that I love, this person that I appreciate, this person that I respect, this person that means so much to so many. I'm going to have some beef with them, beat the shit out of him, throw him in the yard, and then I'm going to Google search, how long is it going to take for this guy to die in the cold? Because I really need to know how many hours I need to make sure that I keep people away from this house, so that we make sure that he dies from, if not from his injuries, from us beating the shit out of him. We're going to, either that or he's going to, pass away from the weather. And yeah, his body was 80 degrees. Do you all realize that you're all like, his body, he couldn't have been out there for that long. No. Your body temperature is normal at 98.7, right? So you don't think your core body temperature being at 80 degrees would take some time, even in that condition, especially when you're drinking? Yeah, it does, guys. Look it up. Why don't you actually, physics and science. I mean, you guys know it's physics and science. Duh. Okay, so these well-respected, beautiful human beings who've raised beautiful families, who have children that are growing up and have their whole lives ahead of them, we're just going to do this awful thing to this person that we care about. We're going to make sure that he dies. We're going to make sure that he dies alone and painfully and as awful as we can. And we're going to do it in the yard, in our own yard. We're going to place him there, because that's completely what, any normal human being would do. It's disgusting. They disproved the 227. My guess is that vehicle that Lucky saw there in the morning, we'll never be able to prove this unless there does get to be some kind of video camera or something, some kind of information from Karen's car. But I think that Karen went over there. I think the vehicle that Lucky saw was Karen's vehicle. That's what I think, because common sense tells me that there are 3 women in this vehicle. She then goes to get her next marks, because she can't find John alone. She has to have witnesses with her. So she starts having a conniption fit and getting Jen, getting Carrie, getting her car back safe to John's house so that she doesn't get a DWI. These women are waking up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, leaving their houses, going out in this blizzard with this woman who is the girlfriend of our friend who we love, and she doesn't know where he is, and she's overly concerned. Like, we totally think she's overreacting. You guys were drinking last night, you got in an argument, like, he's probably crashed out somewhere. So I don't, neither of these women were overly concerned at this point, because, like, they were concerned because it's not like John to not go home, but they weren't overly concerned, because it's like, you're just waking up and you're realizing that, okay, so you guys got in a fight and you dropped him off and he crashed out somewhere. Like, we'll find him. Carrie calls the police to make sure that he didn't get arrested. I think she called the hospital too before she even left her house. Okay, just to make sure. She's not alarmed at this point. She thinks Karen is crazy because she doesn't have a clue why she's acting the way she's acting. So they finally get Karen's vehicle back to John's, get her in the back seat. Both of those women are in the front seat with the headlights, driving over to 34 Fairview. They're all looking for John. None of them, the ladies in the front seat, don't see John. There is no yard lights over there, mind you. So this woman in the back seat, in a blizzard, sees him through the other women who are in front of her, who have better vantage points, who are calm, who are looking. They don't see anything. She screams, gets out of the vehicle, runs into the yard. They're looking at each other like, this woman is crazy. And they don't realize what is happening until Karen drops to the ground and starts getting snow off of John's face. And the terror begins. And then they start, and you know what? Karen didn't turn to anybody and ask, what the hell happened here last night? Jen, what the hell did you guys do to my man? What the hell? You're not running that house, you're not calling 911. The one person that had any control over getting John O'Keefe help chose not to call 911, chose not to have anybody go check on him, chose not to drive back to go get him, which I think she did. I think she did, and I think that's whose vehicle Lucky saw. And she still didn't call 911 because her plan wasn't enacted yet. She had to go get her next victims, her next marks, Jen and Carrie, to bring them to be witnesses to her finding John. If that's not psychopathic, if that's not enough to make you want to cry, then I think you need to get off social media, spend some time in nature, and figure out what is important in life. Because this is not a difficult case. This is a domestic violence case. It is a woman who has, my guess, again, I'm not a psychologist, but she has some symptoms of psychosis and borderline personality. Okay, so not a good woman. And y'all have raised millions of dollars. You've chanted, you've went on rolling rallies to John's friends and family's homes to harass and terrorize them. You make fun of them, you call them names, you organize outside of the courthouse while these families and friends are grieving the loss of someone that they loved dearly. Still not even to fully understand what in the hell happened, realizing that Karen did this, that's a shock. Still thinking that it was an accident, grieving, trying to come to terms with all of this, and then all of this starts coming out. She starts making these appearances like she's a fucking superstar, and everybody shows up for her, and everybody carries water for her. You want to know why? Power, politics, and money. All of these assholes that are involved in this RICO, like this is straight up mob. This is what RICO charges are for. Fraud, mob behaviors, cut all the heads off of all of these dragons. And everybody else just falls in line because they need to feel good about themselves, and they think that they're standing up to the man and they're going to make a difference and this woman is innocent. But nobody has taken the time to actually look at the facts. Because you know what? When I came on the scene, I thought she was innocent too. Until the very first day of trial, my veil was lifted. My very first recording on this channel was that night. I just felt compelled. I had no animosity. I had no skin in the game. I did not think it was going to get this deep and this atrocious. But as my veil started to lift and I started seeing what the whole truth was, it broke my heart. And it infuriated me. And I'm pissed because I don't like bullies. And I don't like people who abuse their power. And I don't like people who think that they can do whatever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want. And they're the most important little thing in the universe. It's unacceptable. And if you don't know by now, this is a fraud. Karen Reed is a murderer and she belongs in prison. So if you are brainwashed, I highly recommend that you take a step back from social media, go spend some time in nature, think about the kind of person that you want to be, think about the families that have been affected by this. Ask yourself, just start with the whole idea of just what if they're innocent? What if these people that have been blamed for murder and harassed and constantly berated and booed, they can't even grieve their loved one. There's all this hell that's been brought upon them. What if you're wrong? Will that make you feel anything? Is that the kind of person that you want to be? Because you should always treat people with respect and dignity, even if they've done you wrong. Because it's your own integrity. It's what you do when no. That's what matters. I think a lot of you need to figure out where you stand in that. So Michael Proctor has figured, he's done his 17 hours of investigating. He's figuring out, he's realized what happened. But again, nobody knew at this point how deep this was going to go, how awful this woman was, how little regard she has for human life except her own, how little regard she has for anybody else but herself. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I was wrongfully accused of killing my husband or boyfriend, and I had support because people knew I was innocent, but his family was like grieving and coming, like trying to figure out what was going on. They were going to court and I was the defendant, and people were, my supporters were booing these people, which are basically my in-laws, and calling them names and treating them like shit and bringing rolling rallies to their homes and terrorizing their lives and their children's lives. The first thing I would do is I would stand on those courthouse steps and I would take that bullhorn out of Turtle Boy's hands and I would say, I love you all. Thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate it. Please respect the family of my, in this case, boyfriend. Please respect them. They are struggling, they're grieving. We're going to figure this out, but you can, please, if you want to support me, the best way to support me is to hold this family up. Treat them with respect. And God forbid, if you are going to raise money for my defense, do not use his name to raise money for my defense. Because right now, they think that I did this. And even if I didn't, just the appearance of that impropriety, which all of you just love to, give Auntie Bev, who was the most fair judge, who gave the defense way more fucking rope than she should have. The appearance is awful. Let them grieve. Do not use his name to do anything for me. I appreciate your support. Let's do this together. But do not do anything to the friends and family of my boyfriend. We're going to get through this. We're going to find the light. But no, she incites this shit. She smiles and laughs and flirts with her attorneys when they're in the courthouse holding up John's bloody clothes. All of y'all keep asking, where'd all the blood go? You know where the blood went? It went into John's clothes. And into the snow and into the ground. Like, again, this is not rocket science. It's just not. They held up John's bloody clothes in that courtroom, and Karen is sitting there flirting with her attorneys, giggling. I mean, she has no shame, she has no guilt, she has no sorrow, she has no remorse, she has no soul. And you all want to hold her up like she is some kind of superhero? She is not a hero. She is not fighting for justice. She is fighting to try to keep her ass out of prison. And Turtle Boy, he doesn't give a shit about free speech. Unless it's his free speech. If you disagree with him and you try to have free speech, oh hell no, you're not afforded that right. He will cut you down and slit your throat. And he won't even think twice about it. Both of these people will. They're perfect for each other. They have the same personality traits, which is why they can't get along. They see in each other everything they hate about themselves. And it's a race to figure out who's going to throw who under the bus. But the happy thing, the good news for people that are actually standing for truth and justice is that the Commonwealth doesn't need either of you to flip on each other. They have enough evidence against both of you to convict you both for being criminals. And I truly hope that Hank Brennan and Lally are figuring out how to charge all the rest of these people that have carried out this terrorism on these families in this community. It needs to stop. Citizens have asked you to stop. Stop. You can support Karen. You do not have to raise money for her in her murder victim's name. You do not have to throw your pom-poms in the friends and family at the murder trial. It is not a tailgating event. It is a murder trial. If you don't have enough respect to actually watch what happens in the courtroom, then don't pretend like you know any of the facts. Because if you're not a grifter, then you are choosing to be blissfully ignorant. Because there's no fucking way that if you wanted to find the truth, that you wouldn't have been able to find the truth by now. And just like Alan Jackson said from the courthouse steps, you need to be accountable for your actions. All of you. So, Michael Proctor and co. figured out within 17 hours what had happened. John O'Keefe lay in the yard where Karen Reed dropped him off. Her taillight was broken. She was freaking out. She called people in the morning, his friends, and told them that he was dead and got hit by a snowplow, and didn't ask the people at the house what happened to him. Just was like, what? Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? I can't raise these kids. Oh, well, you have people that care about you and support you. You have really good friends. Oh, you must not know Carrie Roberts then. This is what she says. This ungrateful asshole. It was an obvious case of hit and run. And it was happening in a blizzard. Do you know what happens in a blizzard? Snow covers up evidence. You know what happens when snow melts? Evidence. The things under the snow appear. It's really not that difficult to figure out why they waited for the snow to melt. Y'all make such big deals out of one little thing here and one little thing here and one little thing here. You can pull all these little strings, but what is your cohesive explanation? You've had 3 years now to figure out a cohesive storyline? Every time Karen Reed does another interview, she's got a whole different story. So which story does Cinderella want here? You gonna combine all 3 of them, all 10 of them, all 5 of them? Like, what are you doing? You've had enough time. I know that the defendant doesn't have any responsibility to solve the case. But Karen Reed and her attorney stood on those courthouse steps and said, I have marshaled all of my resources to find who killed John O'Keefe. I was the only one trying to save his life. No, bitch, you killed him, and you were the only one that had any power to save his life, and you left him to die by himself in a blizzard in the middle of the night, injured, probably unconscious, sick. God knows what he actually knew. God willing, God hopefully, he was unconscious, but he threw up, which is also dangerous. Domestic breakup violence. Women, though most of us are very maternal, women can be just as big assholes as men. And worse, actually. So yeah, the one I would say, the investigation, you can pick little pieces apart, but none of what they did is that crazy. If you actually ask some actual investigators that aren't involved in this Karen Reed nonsense, unbiased people who don't have you're not talking to them about a specific case, but you go to them and ask them these types of questions, none of what they did was that strange, especially when you know the protocols in that area. They couldn't call the MSP until John O'Keefe was pronounced dead. Because they're not investigators in Canton. And they have to call in the MSP, but there's all these protocols. And you have to actually educate yourself on what those are in order to say that this doesn't make sense. You need to actually look for how it makes sense. You need to dig and dig and dig and dig before you start throwing innocent people under the bus over and over and over and over and over again. The Commonwealth did not expect an innocence fraud campaign. They likely didn't know what the hell that even was and had no concern that it would work because it was so preposterous. They did not expect people to actually buy into it. And not many did at first, but over the next 2 years, all these little YouTubers were sharing their crib notes incommunicado. What kind of communications can we find? There's got to be a way to find their communications. Get into those secret apps, Signal and whatever the hell you guys use. Because you all have the same talking points, but you make sure you have all these different personalities so that you draw in all these different types of people, and then you live in your little echo chambers, and all of Melanie's followers go support the Glare, and the Glares support the Young Jerks, and some of them support Turtle Boy, and some of them support Sean McDonough, and some of them support Bryan, and some of them support whoever, Broken Baker, Brandy Churchwell, all these people that are spreading lies and making money and doing it knowing what these families have gone through and continue to do it. So in doing this, when, they're practicing, okay, well, let's try this. This is going to be a problem. How are we going to handle this? Okay, well, I'm going to do it this way. You do it this way. Put a little tweak on it. But it's all the same talking points. And again, with all the different personalities to make sure you can pull in as many people as possible. And then when society pushes back and says, that just doesn't make sense, then you adjust. So they've had 3 years to fine-tune this story. But Karen still can't get it straight. Once again, because every time she starts talking, something different happens. She saw him go in the house. She didn't see him go in the house. she went to, I can't even remember, my brain is tired, but you know what I'm saying. So by the time that they got to trial, they had everybody brainwashed with a refined story. So yeah, Nurse Kim and Dave, she can answer questions. She's had 3 years to fine-tune her story, and she's had hundreds of thousands of people in different countries even practicing her little stories, figuring out what works and what doesn't, so that it can be as refined as possible. So those of you that aren't part of the grift are either blissfully ignorant and don't actually want to find truth because you found your identity. Your identity is now attached to what this so-called movement, which is disgusting, because a movement should be a positive thing. This is not positive. You're trying to free a murderer. And everything that I've said, no, this is not a good. Why don't you go help families that need it? Karen Reed does not need your help. She's a murderer. And she is a cunt. And she is a bitch. And that's just facts. Somebody that murders their boyfriend, and then, okay, just that, she's a cunt and a bitch. But then you think about everything else that I've said tonight. All the lives that she has gleefully terrorized. She's a fucking cunt. She's a bitch. There's no question. So now people are emotionally invested in this. It's become part of their identity. As a result, they live in echo chambers. They have hive thinking. They found a place that they belong, and they refuse to look at and or discuss contrarian opinions. When I first started watching the trial, I would go to Young Jerk's chat. I would go to Broken Baker's chat. I would go to I don't remember if there wasn't a lot that I tried, but I tried on some and they would block me. They wouldn't, JFK, I called in there one night. They don't, they won't listen to it. And if there are facts proven, they pretend like they're not proven in court, right? Like the 227, it did not happen. It was proven by two highly, like the top of the top of the top of the experts. Ian Whiffen fucking wrote the program to fix the issue so that people wouldn't confuse a wall file. You want to know why people don't do that? Because most people fucking know that that's stupid, and that, like, wall files are not what time that you actually did that search. If you're using the same search engine, and don't close out the window. It's really not that difficult. But Ian Whiffen had to rewrite that program so that people wouldn't be able to either get wrongfully convicted because of the program, but also they wouldn't be able to pull this shit and actually be a criminal and not have to pay the consequences because things were able to be finagled in court. So Ian Whiffen rewrote the program. But y'all still, all these little FKRs still pretending like that shit never happened. Literally pretending like it didn't happen. That is a cult, folks. That is brainwashed. When you literally cannot see the forest through the trees and you refuse to have discussions, intellectual discussions, emotionally mature discussions with anybody that has a contrarian opinion. All these people that push FKR, do they ever have guests on that are of the mindset that Karen is guilty? Because I've tried. The only one that I've actually been able to talk on was JFK's, and he hung up on me. But it gave me some airtime. And I was trying to be really nice because I really wanted to talk to him off there. Because I didn't want to embarrass him. Y'all can go listen to that. Sonny. It was the last call on his show probably a month ago. I'm sure lots of you were there. At Karen's bail hearing, which is another thing that y'all just don't want to accept, Yannetti talked. Yannetti told the judge, they're overreaching. And this was just when she had her vehicular manslaughter charge. They offered her 18 months. She would have been in and out in a year. She would have been living her best life already. But no, she has created hell for all of you, your communities. And Yannetti stood in front of that judge and said, this is a tragic accident. My client loved this man. They're overreaching. We need bail. She's got a brain tumor. I don't know if she does have a brain tumor. I haven't heard anything more about that. I do sympathize with the illnesses. I've got similar issues, so I feel bad. But I can't feel bad anymore. I had a lot of empathy for you, Karen. When I first got into this, I thought, shit, man, this is gonna destroy her. But then I watched you. I watched how you move. I watched what you do. I see you pulling these strings. I cannot give you any compassion. You have ripped through these people's lives. Anyway, the point I was making was Yannetti told everybody in the courtroom and everybody outside on the courtroom steps when she got first indicted and got out on bail in that first hearing. I think she spent one night in jail. That's it. If that. Maybe that was the same day. I can't remember exactly. But it was an accident. She loved him. Yet during her trial, Matt Johnson asked her, well, you must have loved him. No. We were just dating. We were just dating. She didn't even want to. That's probably the truth, actually. That's probably the one time she actually told the truth. I don't think she's capable of loving anybody. She didn't love him. But everybody wants to ignore that. You know, on one of those I think it was Nightline, she said that Yannetti met with her and they went over all the charging documents together. And she said, well, you know, some of these things didn't look right in there. She read the papers with Yannetti before they went before the judge. Okay? So y'all can pretend like you don't know that. But it's actually, it's recorded on national television. So you can go watch it for yourselves. But, you know, I know that you won't. Because you want to live in your ignorance and be part of this cool club, which is actually disgusting. And if you decide that you don't want to be a part of it anymore, they'll come after you and terrorize you and your family too. So if you decide to back away slowly. Don't make a scene. Leave quietly into the night. And just be done with it. And thank your precious stars. And start getting some help to deprogram your brain from this frickin' brainwashed mentality that they have you in. And I've already covered why they then charged her later with the second degree. Because as soon as they got that text stream data, you cannot believe that was some sort of accident. You see her vehicle going forward and then slamming into reverse abruptly, 24 miles per hour for 62 feet. 75% of that accelerator was pushed, and those brakes, she did not push the brake at all. The only reason she slowed down and the steering wheel jerked, like Trooper Paul testified to on the stand, which is a telltale sign of pedestrian hit, where the vehicle slows down and the steering wheel does this jerk. Okay, that's a very important part of Trooper Paul's testimony. Her vehicle slowed down because she has anti-lock brakes. not because she even touched the brake. And then this bitch left and started calling him and leaving messages how much she hated him and what a pervert and this and that and the other thing. And you know the rest because I've already said it. There's absolutely zero reasonable doubt that Karen Reed did this. And that is why this investigation didn't take very long. They figured it out. Okay? All of the evidence led straight to her. She drove John over there. That's where they found him. Her taillight was cracked. She's screaming, did I hit him? She's certainly not asking anybody at the house that she dropped him off at what happened. She saw him when nobody else could see him because, I'm like 99% sure that she drove there that morning and Lucky saw her but didn't know that it was her. And Lucky, you're lucky. You are lucky because I guarantee you were a possible target for her. She was that close to blaming it on you. She said John got hit by a snowplow. You could have been her mark, but instead you became her hero. She's using you. She doesn't give a shit about you. All of you. Nurse Kim, she doesn't give a shit about you. She doesn't give a shit about any of you that think that she's your friend. She's not capable. Every little piece of evidence that y'all want to twist and turn and make into some big conspiracy, y'all need to do your research before you just run with it. You need to figure out why these things don't make sense. They don't make sense because you're not used to how this police department operates, what their protocols are, what kind of body injuries could we have from this type of vehicle crash. You cannot definitively say that this was a car accident or this wasn't a car accident. And those ARCA guys did just that. John's body was not hit by the vehicle and the vehicle was not hit by John's body. That's bullshit. You can never rule that out. That medical examiner would have told us that these injuries, she was anything. Baseball bat, punching, vehicle, got trampled by horses. All of that's on the table. You want to know why? Because she can't rule it out. Now, do I think that she could have been a little more focused? Yeah. I don't think that she took her job very seriously either. She didn't give John the dignity that he deserved. So I hope she does better too, because she owes that to John. Not just throw everything in the kitchen sink and hope something sticks. You can make some determinations. That's your job, and you are an expert, correct? But you cannot sit there and say that these injuries are not consistent with a pedestrian hit. How did you rule that out? Because you don't see it very often? Because you don't know where her vehicle hit him? You don't know how it hit him? You don't know on what angle it hit him? You know nothing. You don't know his weight. You don't know how fast the vehicle was going. You know nothing. And you didn't care to look because you knew what kind of nod Josh Levy gave you. And you know that. And your bosses know that. And Josh Levy knows that. And Reed and her team of merry bandit assholes know it. And all of us that give a shit about what happens to these families that have been re-victimized and re-victimized and re-victimized know it. It's disgusting. I would hope that you hold yourselves to better standards. And don't be part of fraud. Don't be pulling political favors, trying to get a murderer off, and trying to not find justice for a Boston police officer. His parents lost 2 adult children, basically 3 adult children with their daughter's husband. Those children lost 3 adult parent figures. And they're not even through high school. And you don't want to give this family the dignity? You think you know better than his own family and his closest friends? How dare you? You don't know him and you don't know Karen, but you think that you know better. You think that they're part of some big conspiracy to help his real murderers not go to jail and frame his girlfriend who was part of his family who they cared about, and are completely horrified by the fact that she could do something like this and then do something like this. The whole rest of this, the whole there. I can't even fucking imagine that shit. I really, truly can't. I mean, it takes the wind right out of my lungs. I think I'm done now. This is one of my longer ones. So, I've had some people in here. I gotta see if I can get to my comments here. The glare, yeah. Hi, Barb. No, I'm fighting for justice, whoever asked me if I have anything better to do. I'm fighting for justice. I'm calling people out. I'm tired of the bullshit. People with power need to take a seat and do the right thing. AI video recap bot. She killed a cop. What is that? I don't know how these bots work, so I have no idea. I sound like a psycho. Well, I'm passionate, and I stand up to bullies. All right, guys, if you're still in here, I appreciate it. My eyes, I had an allergic reaction to something, so I have bad eyes and migraines the way it is, and I really can't see. So I will have to... No, I'm not on drugs. I'm totally sober, and I've been in recovery for 20 years, so I'm very, very clean, and I see very, very straight. And when I believe in something, I fight for it. All you little assholes out there that pretend like you're standing up to something, like you're standing up to corruption, you are the corruption. You don't take the time to educate yourself, to find the actual facts. You just jump into some bullshit and jump on the bandwagon because you can't think for yourself. It's disgusting. Don't call me a psycho because I'm passionate. Defending O'Keefe? Seriously? I mean, this is the kind of shit that is disgusting. Who should be president? I should be president. I would say... y'all need to read the book. If I was president, I would make it mandatory for everybody to read the book, Many Lives, Many Masters. And then I would like you to give me an oral recap, every citizen. And also, another book, which is a super easy read, called The Four Agreements. That would be required reading for everybody within their first 3 books that they ever read in their entire life. And if you're an adult right now, then it has to be has to happen very soon. You'd be able to get through it really quickly. Many Lives, Many Masters, and The Four Agreements. I think that Yeah, I mean, John let her drive, but that's apparently what she did. I mean, I cannot, it breaks my heart that people want to blame him for something. She was going to drive anyways. She drinks. She drinks a lot. She's not supposed to be drinking. That's actually part of her bail agreement. So, really, they could revoke her bail. I don't know why they haven't. She's out there drinking in public, getting her tits grabbed by her attorney. But, oh, no, nothing going on here. Nope, nothing unethical going on here. We're not lying to the court, and we're certainly not getting drunk together and partying together and grab-assing with each other. Totally normal. That's totally client-attorney relationship, ethical boundaries. All right. Oh, Miss Dark Humor got here. I'm actually just getting off. I was trying to read through these. Jimbo. Hey, girl. What is that? I'm trying to read. My eyes are so fucked up. Out drinking with her Yeah. Yeah, well, I think they thought that she was... I've heard it both ways. I've heard somebody say that she thought she was going to get acquitted, but I think that first day, she knew she was fucked. Because if they didn't come back... Because everybody was like, they'll be back in an hour. She'll be acquitted, you know. So I think she knew that it was her only hope was to get a hung jury. And she clearly had intel, you know, telling me that there's not frickin' plants on that jury. They were out celebrating because they knew it was going to be a hung jury. And that was a win for them. And now they're pulling fraud all the way up to the Supreme Court on this shit. They're lying to the court, the Supreme Court. They're still lying. They're making shit up. They have people in there that, oh, I won't vote her guilty because I refuse to send her to prison. Really? You shouldn't be on a fucking jury then. What are you doing here? I bleed pink. Ugh. The misogyny. Unbelievable. She made it about misogyny. That's her social movement that she chose to latch onto. That woman wouldn't know what misogyny is. She's just as bad as any man. She makes me sick. Oh, hold on, Dark Humor, hold on. I gotta get my writing utensil ready. Hey, Thomas, I'm just getting done. I had a really nice long rant. I have no idea what I said. I just lost my shit. I'm calling out all of these fuckers. So tired of it. Okay, Miss Dark Humor, I'm ready. Yeah, Hank Brennan is going to bring it. And he's going to do it classy. He is going to be classy about it. But he's going to be cutthroat. No holds bars. This woman has terrorized their community. All the way up to the Supreme Court. I mean, it's unfucking believable. Karen is breaching bail. Yeah. That's part of her bail requirements, isn't it? That she's not supposed to be drinking, but she's out playing grab ass with her attorneys, getting drunk. There's evidence of it. Banfield's trying to disprove it. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, you'll have to listen when you're in the mood for a good rant. Yeah, I don't even know how he's not being punished already, Alan Jackson. Like, that's totally acceptable behavior. Getting drunk with your client, grabbing your client's tits. She's out on bail, not even supposed to be drinking. All that shit's acceptable to the bar association. It's weird. Kind of don't think it's okay. I kind of don't think pulling fraud on the court all the way up to the Supreme Court in Massachusetts is a very good idea either. Miss Dark Humor, are you still here? Because I'm going to end this. Thomas, if you're still here, you should put Kevin's email in the chat right here for Miss Dark Humor. And then Miss Dark Humor, you can email Kevin and get my email address. If you two are still here. I'm going to wait a minute or two to see if you're still here, but you might have jumped off. Where? Not on this chat or in my... It's up on here? Because I don't see it. Take it down if it's up here, because I don't see it. Thomas is here. Hey. Miss Dark Humor. Thomas, can you put Kevin's email in this chat right here for Miss Dark Humor? And then you can, Miss Dark Humor, you can email Kevin, and that way you don't have to put your email up. Because I don't see it, so if it's up, take it down so you're not... Yes, really? Or is it in, like, my chat on a video that's not on the live stream? Did you put it on one of my videos? Or because I don't see it in this live chat. I see you say, ready for my email. And then your next one says the email is up. And then the next one says, yes, really? Question mark, question mark. And then it's in the live and I can't take it down. Can't you delete it? I can't even see it. You're posting on YouTube, Thomas. Miss Dark Humor, are you able to see what Thomas is posting for Kevin's email address? Because I don't see him posting. I don't know if they let email addresses go in the live chat because I don't see it. And I don't know where in the hell else to go because I'm... Oh, the chat takes it down. Does Kevin have his email posted like on his YouTube page? If you just go to his YouTube page, is it easy? Does he have it listed there under his channel name? That's what I would look there, Miss Dark Humor. That way, because he'll keep your shit private. Okay, Thomas said it's listed there, so you don't have to go through his live streams to try to find where he posts it. You just go to the page and click on like his name at the top where the picture is, and then it'll bring you to all their info where the, like, people have all their socials listed and stuff. I think that's where you'll go, where you should go. Thomas said it's listed. Let me look. Let me look. If I can find it, I'll just read it to you. Hold on. Sean McDonough's on, I see. Thomas, I don't see his email. It doesn't have it. It has his, YouTube, PayPal, and that's it. I know it's like LEIT. Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see it either, Miss Dark Humor. Shit. I wonder if it's... Here, Thomas, if you're still in here, can you do us a huge favor and go over to Kevin's, like in his community page or something? Like, can you write his email in there for... Or wait, hold on, actually. Let me look. If I might be able to find it. I have a friggin' migraine. I get a migraine every time I go on here. Shoot. I think I just deleted something that I wasn't trying to delete. Okay, I found it, Miss Dark Humor. LEITS. Oh, if I can read. So small. LEITSKEV @gmail.com. LEITSKEV @gmail.com. Yeah. Oh my God. I know. I'm the same way. I think we're probably cut from the same cloth, Miss Dark Humor. I've had people threaten me that they were going to make one for me. I probably have one out there. Some of my friends probably made one for me. They've threatened me enough. Okay. So Miss Dark Humor's got it. Thank you, Thomas. I got it for her. I appreciate your help. I'm going to sign off now and take some migraine medication. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sticking around for a while with me and my rant. Let people know if you've got people that you chill with on other channels. Tell them to come over and subscribe to me so that I can get my numbers up, so that I can get... I think that affects how, if I can bring up people and have, like... I want to be able to have guests. And I have like 80... I think I have 89 subscribers. I had 90, so somebody left me. Butthead. Oh, thanks, Jimbo. Bye, Thomas. Oh, cool. Kevin's got a show tonight. For sure, we'll be there. I gotta get rid of this migraine. And Sean's on right now, so I gotta see what kind of rant he's on, so. All right, love you guys. Spread love and light. Spread love and light. I know sometimes I feel like a hypocrite because I'm on here being a OG, but you know what? I'm not a bitch to people that I'm not calling out. This is just facts. I'm standing up to all the bullies. I'm calling people out that need to take responsibility for their behavior. And I'm telling people in power that they need to fucking protect their communities. They need to take care of their people. So yeah, I can be brash. But again, I've got the mouth of a sailor and the heart of Mother Teresa. So if you like that, stick with me. We'll go far. Mwah. Love you all. Spread love and light. Have a good night.